Hey there, everyone, and welcome back into the channel. It's been a while since I posted anything, but I thought as a good New Year's resolution, I would post a little more this year, and hopefully we can have some really exciting videos that teach you a lot about how to use all of the Google tools. So today, since it's the new year, it's a really, really good time to get organized, right? First part of the year, it's everyone's starting to pile projects on you. So what we're going to talk about today is how to create the ultimate task list using Google Sheets. Okay, this is a way that I create my task list, and I wanted to show you some of the tips and tricks that I use to keep organized. So let's dive in, and we will start creating a task list. Okay, so here we are in Google Sheets. All right, and what we are going to do now, again, this is the way I create my task list. I'm going to show you how I do it, how I like to keep organized, but you might decide to do it a completely different way. But this is just to give you some ideas. So I have a new Google Sheet opened up. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a title. So I'm just going to call it 2024, to-do list. All right. Now, normally, right, it makes sense across the top in in row 1, we're going to put all of the information, the headers for all of the information that we're going to capture in our task list. So in my column A, what I normally like to capture is the date that the project was assigned to me. Okay, so I'm just going to type in your date of project. Then in column B, I'm going to put the name of the project. Name of project. And you can use this for projects. You could use this for shopping lists. You could really use it for anything. You'll see in a second. It's definitely something that can be modified in any way you want. Column C, I'm going to describe a description of the project. Okay. Column D, I am going to put the priority, right? So oftentimes I get projects that are high priority, maybe they're low priority. I want to keep track of those. All right, so that'll be in column D. In column E, we're going to capture the status. In column F, I'm going to put in here the completion date. Okay. In G, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture days to complete. All right, this will show me how efficient I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say from the start of the project to the completion date, how many days was it? Okay, and then finally in the last column, column H, just in case I assign these projects off to someone else on my team, I'm going to capture that. So I'm just going to put assigned to here. Okay, so right now I'm just really setting up what the structure of my task list is going to look like. Okay, obviously you can have different columns, but these are the ones that I find most useful. What I try to do with my task list is create one that doesn't become a burden to maintain, right? So you may want to capture all types of information, but if the task list becomes a burden to maintain and you stop maintaining it, then it kind of loses its purpose. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. And again, these are sort of the fields that I find to be most useful to me when I'm sort of planning my day. Okay, so we're going to do a little more formatting. So I have the columns that I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this first row here. And let's put a little background behind it. So I like the color blue. And then the text color, I'm going to make the text color white. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize some of these. Okay. So name of project, description, maybe description make it a little bigger. Priority doesn't need to be that big. Status doesn't need to be that big. Completion date looks fine. Days to complete. It's going to be fine. And then maybe assign to, we can make it a little bigger. All right. And then actually what I'll do is, let me bold those and we will center all of them. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to do to this row is I'm going to highlight the row. I'm going to come up to view at the top and then freeze up to row 1. So what this will do is when I start to scroll down my task list, it's always going to show me row 1. And you'll see that as we put a couple of entries in. Okay. Now, a couple of other things I'm going to do to format this is in my first column, my date of project, I'm going to go format, number, and then we're going to put date. Okay. So when I put the type the date in, no matter what format I put it in, it's always going to make the format conform. The date will always have the same format. So we're going to do that there. We're going to do that here again, format, number, date. Okay. And now we're going to, let me make this one a little bigger. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some drop down boxes. Okay. I'm a believer there should be some fields that are free text fields. Okay. But then there's going to be some fields that, especially if you want to sort by those fields or filter by those fields, you want to have a standard text in that field. Okay, so we don't want to capture it as free text because there could be misspellings, there could be ways that you characterize something differently. So if we have sort of standard entries, it will make it easier to sort and to filter. Okay, so the first one of those is going to be priority. So I'm going to come here in column D in the second row, and I'm going to highlight the row, and then I'm going to come up to insert. And Google Sheets has a lot of smart chips and other features that you can add into your Google Sheet. So if you scroll down here, you're going to see drop down. So that's what I'm going to choose. Okay, and you see when I have drop down here, it highlights it, it gives me a drop down box, and then on the side here it's going to give me the options that I can add to that drop down box. All right, so this is priority. So let's just say I'm going to call the first one high priority, and I'm going to call that red, and then we'll have medium priority, or let's make it normal priority. Okay, and we'll make that let's say blue. Okay, and then here we want to add one more, and we're going to call this low priority. Okay, and this one will make it green. Okay, now while I have this highlighted, I want to make sure I use that same drop-down list all the way down this sheet here. Okay, so there's a couple of ways I can do that. So the one way is I could grab this little circle at the end of the cell, and I could pull it all the way down to whichever number of rows I wanted to have that. So that's one way to do it. The other way I could do it is, while I have that highlighted, I could come over here where it says apply to range. And right now it's applying to just this sheet and cell D2. Let's say I wanted to have it go down 200 rows. So I said I want it to go from D2, I put a colon, and then put D, let's say 200. Okay, and now you're going to see when I check off it, it now has added it to all of the rows. Okay, I should say, yeah, all of the rows all the way down to 200. Okay, and then you see it stops after 200. Okay, if at a point I wanted to say, oh, I wanted to apply even more than that, I can just change this range here. Okay, I can say 300. Okay, so I'm just going to change it to 300. And now, okay, I should have it all the way down past 200, goes all the way to 300, if you can see that. Okay, so that's my priority field. Okay, let's do the same for status. Okay, so I come to status and I'm going to say insert. Actually, let's hit done here and let's go status and we're going to go insert drop down. Okay, so for this, I'm going to say my status. I'm going to have not started. That's going to be 1. So not started will be, we can say red. Okay, we're going to have in progress. Okay, and in progress we'll say is yellow. Actually, let me make this color. I'm going to add another one, and this is going to be completed. And we're going to make this green. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to say from sheet E2, I said before 300, so I'm going to say E300. Okay, and then done. Okay, so now, as you can see, if across my row 2, let's just say I have priorities, okay, and my status. All right. Now, one other thing I'm going to format here, this is going to be a date. And in here, in column G, I want to have a calculation that is going to tell me how many days between when the project started and when the project was completed. Okay, so, and again, this is just something that I like to keep track of. I like to track my efficiency. And then once I have that number of days, I can do all sorts of calculations. I can say, well, give me the average of how many days it took me to complete a project, how many days it took me to complete a high project, a medium project, a low project. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to put a formula in here. And the formula is we have to calculate the number of days between the date of the project. Oh, and I notice I spelled project wrong, so that's put that R in there. We're going to do the number of days between the date of the project and the completion date. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this first cell, and my formula is going to be is equal to, and if I start putting in days, all right, I just type in the word days, and you're going to see here it gives me a suggestion. So this is going to be the number of days between two dates. That's what I want. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to say, okay, what's the end date? All right, so I have to put in the field that, or I should say the cell where I'm going to capture my end date, which is my completed date field. So that's going to be F2. Okay, and then I put a comma in, and my start date is over here is A2. So I type in A2, and then I close it up with a parentheses. Okay, and right now I have a 0 there. Okay, now you'll see as I put dates in here, this will calculate. All right, and then what I can do is this formula I'm going to drag down. Okay, I'm going to drag it all the way down to 300. Okay, so I just grabbed, all I did, again, I grabbed that little circle at the lower right-hand corner of the cell and just held my mouse button down and pulled it down. Okay, and it basically, it brought the formula with it. Okay, but it's not the same formula as the first cell. So if I click on this last cell, for example, you'll see up here, it's going to tell the days between F300 and A300. Okay, so it knows that you're going to calculate the date a little bit, the number of days in a little different way. Okay, so let's put an example in. Okay, so let's say my first project is, today's date is 1/7/24. Okay, so if I put 1/7/24 and I come over here to the next cell, you can see because I added the format to it, it's going to make it 1/7/2024. Okay, so it doesn't matter how I put the date in, it's always going to put it in the same format. All right, and this I'm going to call project 1. Right, we'll call project 1, and this is going to be my description. This is a very important project. Okay, now my priority for this, I'm going to select it as high. And the status here is going to be not started. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to make it a little bigger so I can see not started. Okay, so I see something now that I'm thinking about this. You see I have as the ones that I chose, not started, in progress, and completed for my status. What if I get a project, someone assigns a project to me, but they say, okay, here's the project, but it's on hold. All right. Or let's say I start the project and it goes on hold. All right. There's some other thing I have to wait for. So I really need a status for that. So I already made, if you look in each of the drop down fields, they already have just these three. I don't want to have to go and update each one of them. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. If I click on this one here at the very top, okay, and I click like I'm going to select something, and you see there's an edit button here. Okay, so when I click edit, it's going to give me, open up the drop down box again, and I'm going to say add another item. So this one I'm going to just say on hold. Okay, and this one we'll call it blue. All right, and then I'm going to hit done, and it's going to ask me, do I want to add this option to all of the other rows in the drop down list? Okay, so do I want to add that on hold to all the others? Now I can say, no, I just want it for this one. Maybe this is a special case, so I'm able to add just on hold to that. I don't want it to be an option. Or I can say I want to apply it to all. So I'm going to apply it to all. Okay, so now you can see in my other ones, I now have an on hold option. Okay, now let's say if you look here, the days to complete, close this guy up here. If you look at the days to complete, it's calculating numbers because it doesn't have a date here. So the days to complete is a little screwy, and we can work on that a little bit. But let's say I complete it. All right, let's just say, for example, I complete it tomorrow, 1/8/24. Okay, and then as soon as I click away from it, you can see now it's marked it taking 1 day to complete. If I change that, right, it'll update it. Okay, 2 days. All right, so that's a really nice feature. Again, something that's not necessary, but if you're looking to do some calculations to check your efficiency, it's something like that is very, very easy to set up. Okay, and then the last field, let's say I wanted to assign this task off to someone and I wanted to keep track of that. Google has a really nice feature. If I type in @ okay, I can just select a person who is in my contact list, and it automatically puts their email address in the assigned to box. Okay, it's not going to email them, but it will automatically give me a way to keep track of who I've assigned things off to. Okay, so let's put another one in here. All right, we're going to put in here 1/7/24, and this will be project number 2. Project 2. Okay, let's go second project. And this one is going to be normal. And this one is not started. All right. Actually, this one, we're going to mark this because we completed it. And we could put some script around that. So when this is marked as completed, maybe it updates the status. That's kind of a nice feature. All right. And then we're going to do something else here, a date of project. And we're going to call this one, I'm going to put in here 01/08, or I said 07/24, just to show you it has converted it back to that number. Okay, and this is project number 3. All right, the third project. And this is going to be low priority. And actually, let me make sure I can see all of these ones. And I may want to center them up. Let's center them all up. Okay, that's kind of nice. We can do the same here. I'm very peculiar about making and very particular, I should say, I'm peculiar too, but very particular about making my spreadsheet look as nice as possible. Okay, maybe we'll do this here while we're at it. Put this guy, and we'll put this guy, we'll center them. Okay. Oh, and this is something else I should point out here. Because I assigned this to this person, it doesn't email them to say that it's been assigned to them, but Google's really nice. Because I assigned it to them, I can very quickly give them access to this document. So at this point, I could just come in here and say, because I mentioned them, I could just say share. All right, but I'm not going to. I just want to keep track for myself here. Okay, so I have a few here, and we're going to say this one is on hold. Okay, so we have 3 things in here. So I'll show you again, because we froze this first line here, when I scroll down with the mouse, you can see that first row stays in place. It's very nice as you get going. There are a lot of other things you can add to this. You can add, let's say you're a checkbox type of person. You could add, let's say at the beginning of this, we're going to say insert a column to the left, and we're going to call this, checkbox. Okay, and then in here, just like we did before, insert, there's a checkbox option, and then it's the same thing. Let's do 3 at a time. And we're going to drag this all the way down to 300. Okay, let's go 300. Okay, so I have my check boxes. All right, so if I say, I just want to check these guys off. And then what you could do is you could add a filter here. So I highlight the column, and then I come over here to create a filter. So I've created a filter here, and let's say I only want to show ones that are false, meaning they don't have the checkbox. Okay, so this is what I have here, false. All right, and then I'm going to hit OK. So now I can check this off here. And now if I take off true, it hides that column here. Okay, because it's only showing ones that are false. False meaning not having a checkbox. So anyway, I'm going to go back and I'm going to have everything in it. Okay, and I'm not a fan of checkboxes, but you can do a lot of different things. If that's the easy way you want to check things off, you could set it up so that when you check that box, it may strike out the the text in the line, or it may hide it. It may take it off. Okay, so there you go. What I then like to do, okay, there's a couple of things you could do here. I definitely would add a filter to the priority column. Okay, so I'm going to add one here. So that way, very easily, I can say, just show me my high priority ones. All right, so that's definitely something I can do here. All right, let's put them all back. Or you can just say, I don't want to see ones that have been completed. I don't want to see ones that are on hold. There's a lot of things you can do with filtering. What I sometimes like to do instead of just filtering one column is I can click here at the top and then click filters to add filters to every column. So now I can basically filter my task list by any column that's here. Okay, and it's very nice. I can go to my data project and I can actually put in the date, right? I can put in, now granted, I only have one set of dates here, but I can say, just show me the ones, the items that were given to me on 1/7/2024. So once you have set up these filters, it works really, really good. So anyway, I know that was a little bit about task list. This is what I really like. As a bonus tip, remember at the beginning of the video, I said the task list is only as good as your willingness to use it. Okay, so I said, so there's a couple of things. You want to make it so that it's not too burdensome to complete the task list. So you can see from mine, I only have about 6 or 7 columns, and with drop-down lists, it makes it very easy. The other thing you want to do is make it so that you can find your task list very easily. And what I like to do is, now that I have this in a Google Sheet, okay, you can see at the very top here, this URL is a link that you can share this task list with other people. But you can also, if you hit this star button and you bookmark it, you can actually add it to the bookmarks tab, either the bookmarks bar or saved as a bookmark in your browser. So that I always do to make it easy. And I usually add it to my bookmarks bar so that right across the top of the page, when I want to hit that, when I hit that bookmark, my task list opens up for me. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I expect to have more videos in the coming weeks, and I really appreciate your attention. And if there's anything that you'd like me to show you, please make sure you drop it in the comments here. Please make sure to like and subscribe so I can put more of these videos together. So I really appreciate it, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care.